Well, the experience of the disease is really difficult, particularly at a younger age. It's not something you envisioned in your life. It's not something you initially knew anything about. And it's a real life changer. You know, all your dreams for your future are destroyed because you think, oh my God, am I going to be in a wheelchair? You know, what's my situation going to be? And so having that experience gives you empathy for other people, and you want to be able to help them because you know what it feels like. I trained as a professional dancer. I performed, and I did that for about 20 years, and then I got Parkinson's, at which time I retreated from the dance world because I had a whole slew of questions to answer. Who was I now? How was I going to make a living? Who would I become? Because all my whole life revolved around movement, and now I had this big dark cloud looming over me. And in an effort to hide my Parkinson's, which most everybody does in the beginning, I started to develop these techniques to coax my body towards a more normal movement pattern. And after I came out with my Parkinson's, I thought, well, maybe these things work for me, maybe they'll work for other people, but the only way for me to know is to try and to teach other people. So I started teaching other people. I made up a class called PD Movement Lab. And I called it that because I was interested in experimenting with anything that would help people with Parkinson's. It was a dance-based class because that's my own personal history, and because there are other reasons that dance is really good for Parkinson's. But it allowed for props, theater games, role-playing, anything was grist for the mill. And that gave me a lot of training in understanding the mechanics of how the body moves, and gave me an eye to figure out very specifically what's happening with the body, because in ballet in particular, I trained in modern and in ballet, but in ballet you study the difference between that and that. I mean, it's very articulate, and so it trained my eye in order to be able to see movement. Now when you go to the side, like your heel came off, I don't know if you intended that. Do you want that grounded there, or do you want to go for flex? Well, maybe you need to go so they can get all the way, and then they can feel it down there. So they're sensitive to, you're training them about their bodies, to have perceptions to how it is. And I didn't want to be disabled.
Right.
You know? That wasn't who I was.
Yeah.
So I had that to fuel. It's sort of ironic that my desire to hide is what gave me the techniques to move.
You know, Elizabeth and I both have backgrounds in dance.
Mm-hmm.
She was a professional dancer in New York. I was a professional dancer for a while, and I really do believe that without that, it would be much more difficult for me to take this on.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's already a magic in the dance.
Right.
Dance is a performing art. That component of expressiveness is something that's often left out of the equation for people in therapies for disorders. Usually the therapies are pretty cut and dry, strength training, stretch training, balance training. But to me, the magic comes with the addition to those basic elements, the element of moving through space and with expression and gesture and rhythm.
It's large movements, very little bit of patterns for the thought, a lot of breath, a lot of community, moving together.
We do a lot of singing and dancing, and the elements that they need to help them with, say, their extremity movement and coordination, to help them with balance, to help them with freezing, those elements are buried underneath the song and dance. They're in there. We address all of that, but in the context of a sort of expressiveness.
Where this class we wanted to bring in for anybody with a movement disorder. That could be Parkinson's disease, that could be multiple sclerosis, it could be somebody with tremors, somebody who just had a stroke and is trying to recover and to learn how to walk. So it's strictly for the movement, to give them that fluidity back in their lifestyle, because Parkinson's and MS and diseases of such kind of start tearing away at your body. Your shoulders are slumped over and you're shuffling your feet and all that. And when you bring the music concept into it, it kind of makes them forget about their problems, and they just start moving without even knowing it.
Those elements are extremely beneficial to people with Parkinson's. Their awareness of their own powerful bodies and what they're not tapping into, and you see that those wheels starting to, those connections starting to, and that even if they're not doing it yet, they're on their way.
The awareness that if you can draw someone into a personal narrative and then apply it to a therapeutic technique, it's a way to catch people.
Actually, during the class, I really see we start out and everybody's either tentative or just not sure of themselves. And by the end of the class, everybody is moving very freely. So it obviously is working, because I think like anything, you can't do something for a small period of time and think it's going to change. It becomes part of your lifestyle. So that's really what I'm hoping will happen with it.
And we're hoping to see that there is a mobility improvement in the participants that are taking the class. And where the mobility is important, I feel just as important is the mental aspect of it. That they're coming in, they're being with people, and they're bonding, they're having communication. A lot of these participants that are coming to this class would normally just be sitting home from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock on a Wednesday. But instead they're looking forward to coming in, they're making new friends. So mentally it's good for them, and physically it's good for them. So we're looking for an overall benefit, a movement benefit where they're finding they're moving better and they're more confident in their movement. And then that mental benefit of just feeling better about themselves because they're doing something and they're looking forward to something.
We're able to bury that under the dance and have it come through in ways that, to me, are just a little more fun, a little more kind of have more of a spiritual component in a way, like good for the soul. Anytime you dance, it's good for the soul. Everybody knows that. So they don't have to worry about, am I getting this right? They're just singing and dancing and moving and enjoying themselves.
So I'm just honored to even be a part of this program.
people move with pleasure and fun and enjoying themselves and being part of a community and being able to dream beyond their disease and really having a good life.